Welcome to Natural Habitat Adventures Daily Dose of Nature. Today's topic: an India expedition leader's first trip to the United States. Presented by NatHab expedition leader Arpita Dutta. I'm your host, Rob Mess. Thank you so much for being here with us today. Take it away, Arpita.
Thank you so much, Rob. Today is actually very exciting for me to present a webinar about the US to the people who are living there, including you. So that's definitely amazing to be here, and thank you so much for all of you for tuning in. And hope you all are having a great time. And yeah, so to start with, it's been, I mean, since I have started working with NHA from 2018, and in between got an opportunity to be there, but somehow the first time my visa got denied, and it was really heartbreaking for me because I have been like being so amazing. I mean, listening to so amazing people out there, and being with the guest and knowing about them, their landscape, the animals, that definitely made me feel like, okay, this is how it is. And looking towards all those places, that how these things are, what are the wildlife, how are the geological, like the landscapes, that always made me feel like, okay, this is the world, another part of the world which I know, thanks to all these wonderful guests who shares their travel stories and their moments with us here while we are traveling in India or in Nepal, Bhutan. So that's been amazing. And so anyway, that time that didn't happen. Then COVID happened, and all of a sudden, like after, and this time when I applied, I was not even expecting. Like I was felt like, okay, if it happens, good. If it doesn't, it's okay. But fortunately, it happened, and then I was like the whole plan started setting up, that how and what is happening, though I didn't inform many people out there, which I feel very guilty about, because whoever the guest got to know that I'm there, I wish I could meet them all at least for a half of the day and say hello and give them a hug, that because of their love and enthusiasm, which made me feel like I have to visit to that country. So yeah, this is this is the trip, and of course, uh, it's a long journey. This is my first such a long distance travel. I mean, I always listen from all the guests, from my friends, that it's very tiring, but now I felt it. Though I just slept, I don't know how did I sleep for almost 18, 19 hours on the flight, but I did sleep quite a lot. But yeah, it's almost 9,450 miles from where I flew to Denver. And we had I had a stopover at Munich in Germany. So it was a very wonderful experience out there. And while I was planning for the trip, I had the thing in mind, that where would I like to visit. I mean, because it's huge, like it's a huge country. Like US is 3 times bigger than India, but India is more than 3 times populated than USA. But that's, and we share, like all, these two countries share a lot of amazing landscapes, or not even landscapes, I would say the habitats. We have like the tundra, grassland, desert, forest, the freshwater areas, rivers, the marine life, mangrove, so many wetlands. So we have so many things in common. And for me, I really wanted to see that how those wetlands or the mountain or the foothills, the grasslands, how much different it is. Of course, there are different flora, like varieties of grass or this in the grassland, but of course, how does it look? So that was there in back of my mind. And of course, the amount of species diversity we have. I mean, imagine we are very close. Like in when in case of mammal, we have near about 436 species, and US have 444. So we are very close. And for the birds, again, we have near about 1300 plus. North America has 700 plus bird life. So there are like abundance of things to see or to know about. And these amazing mountain ranges. And while working in Nepal, Bhutan, and India, I do come across a lot of mountain ranges, but a lot more of that are the young mountains. I mean, of course, Himalaya, that's the Himalayas are, of course, one of the youngest. But then we have like seven major mountain range in India. US have this three, but these three are huge. Like it's almost covering the whole country. So yeah, and the geological age, I had that thing in mind, that I love that. I mean, to see things, in the depth. So while selecting all these places, I had to like think of as that the geological age of US is like 600 million, India is 570 million. So we are very close by, but what makes it so unique? It's of course the habitat altogether, all the different types of wildlife, and I cannot escape, or I cannot just miss to say that it's about the people as well. Of course, that's a very definite sign of it. And so this is how I planned that. And I always I love my reptiles and amphibians, so I selected few plays depending on the species I wanted to see. And because I knew that US, North America is one of the place where there is highest density of salamanders are there, as well as they have the second largest population of freshwater turtles. So this two actually got me there, that okay, these two are there, and I definitely wanted to see the alligators, the manatees, and the American crocodiles. So I kind of planned like that. So it started from Denver. Then I then from there, like in we most of the time we spend in Boulder, and then from there went to Yellowstone, Teton National Park, and then from Salt Lake City I flew to Knoxville, Tennessee, and I had a stopover at Denver, and then from Knoxville, then I flew to North Carolina for my turtles. Knoxville, of course, for the Smokies, for the salamanders, and one particular turtle, which is called the bog turtle, critically endangered, and it has an amazing story. So I wanted to see that, and then flew to North Carolina, where we have this Turtle Survival Alliance Center, and to see the more endangered and threatened species, and to know more about them and to see them. And then from there, I got to Florida. I was staying near Fort Lauderdale and did the Everglades National Park. Then I went to Hartford in Connecticut, and from there I came to New York City, and mostly I stayed in the Long Island Beach. And from there I flew back home. So this is all about my my travel itinerary I had. Okay, sorry. And these are the few places I covered during this: is the Yellowstone, Grand Teton, the Great Smoky, and the Everglades National Parks, and few state parks and forest, which is Boulder like Country Park. Oh, sorry. um, country park, the Roxborough State Park, the Cherokee National Forest, and the Fire Island National Seashore. So these are the places I have like covered. But of course, I cannot cover the whole thing in this one webinar. So I have a few more parts because I really wanted to talk about and share about my feeling, what I have seen with all of you. So it's amazing. My first day, I mean, we got there, settled up in the base camp in Boulder, and then in the next day, we just got to know that what we are about to do, and we met a few of our office colleagues and friends, and then the rest of the team, like who has the other members, other expedition leaders who had come from different parts of the world. So we kind of catch up together, and then our journey started, all this exploring, and and I feel Boulder is, it's amazing. Like it's so beautiful, and because it's located at the base of the foothills of the Rocky Mountains, I think the landscape, it's just absolutely stunning, the scenic beauty, and especially I could not like hold my tears, especially and my joy when I met all the office colleagues and friends, because it was a long awaited moment. I have been like, it's it's just absolutely like a beautiful experience I had out there. I wish I could get few more days, and but I don't know whether they could have tolerated me, because I've been like, I could have like talked for hours. But yes, but it would be amazing to spend more time with all of them. So yeah, we we went out for birding to check or to look around those areas near our Boulder office, and sorry, we have a classrooms and stuff, and NatHub is never, whether with guests or without guests, NatHub is never without some amazing food. So of course we ate a lot, and then we kept on traveling from place to place, and at our Boulder office, uh, like near where we went first, and there my first animal, what I saw after even I got down from the flight, though I didn't have a good look, but once we were out in the field for a walk, it was the prairie dogs, and definitely they reminded me of the meerkat. I mean, they were like den in between the grasslands and heap of mud, and in between that, their heads were popping out, looking around, standing on its 2 feet, and at the same point could hear, could hear them in some in some point. And it was amazing to see how they kind of like stand up and look at like who are all around, because we were many and we were walking on the path and they were kind of away, but still they were very cautious about it. And hearing them was more fun, because just learned about them that they have one of the most complex communication system, and to get few of those communication like call was really great. And we heard some squeaks, some jump hip, like they do kind of activity at the same time they call. And they have their own way of communicating a lot of things to from one den to another. And even they are so specific. The study says that their calls actually can convey, the descriptive detail, like distinguishing between the predators. Just like we say that when the langurs in India give alarm calls in the forest, we kind of, if they are very loud, or we can hear them properly, we actually know, kind of can judge that whether it's a leopard or a tiger. because their way of calling changes, but the same thing happens with them, but in a in a various way, much expanded way their communication call is. And yeah, and then saw the cottontail, the rabbit. And then I definitely need to say this is I really wanted to see the salamanders. And at Boulder office, thanks to Dana, that she said that, oh, we might find salamanders here. And I was like, are you serious? I mean, is it that easy? But she, of course, she didn't promise that. She said that I'm not promising, but we can try for it. And of course, I mean, it's worth giving a try, whether if we see it or not. So that happened, and we went behind, like in the office, around the office only. And at one place there were like three tiger salamanders, which is like my star animal from Boulder. And it's grow actually pretty big, and we saw like one big, and there are two little salamanders were also there in that same area. So I exploded actually with happiness. I literally I didn't know at that point of time what exactly I did, because I was not even like thinking that I'll get the salamanders so easily. And it happened. It felt that okay, my US trip is almost like done. I got it. So that, I mean, once you come here to see a tiger or a snow leopard or the one horn rhino, and once you see it, do you feel that okay, this is the reason I came here? Was almost like the feeling was almost like that. And so yeah, it was amazing. And of course, getting a tiger salamander over there in Boulder was extra amazing, because it is the your state amphibian of Colorado as well. So, and luckily we got to see it, because otherwise, because the winter was approaching, so they kind of go in hibernation. But yeah, I was fortunate enough to see it. And from the next day, we went to the Mud Lake, uh, the northern part of this Netherland, and we did a lot of hike. Um, Again, food. And yeah, we had an amazing time together, all of us get to know the habitat out there. And beautiful landscape, of course. I saw the Albert's squirrel as well, and red-tail hawk, and there are a few more different species of birds which were there. And of course, for all the naturalist and the expedition leader, I think we love this shit business. So wherever we see some scat or pellets, we used to sit there for at least we took a good time to just see that how and what and all these things. And I think this kept going everywhere. I mean, no matter which country we are going, whenever we see some animals cat, we kind of get engaged over there that we got some, precious things. Yeah, so that thing has happened. And then next day, we came back, we had our time, and the next day we went to the Rocks Pearl State Park. As soon as I went there, and the Red Rocks, and just saw this amazing, fascinating like rock, it was I was mesmerized by the beauty of that. And definitely this fountain formation, which is more than 280 million years old, and due to the movement and due to the uplift, how it happened, the 60-degree angle, and all those steep lines, how it were, I think that was definitely not only fascinating, but it's very dramatic. I mean, this whole thing was. And uh, when I say this dramatic thing, and of course, I mean, out of we know the geologic history of this place, But suddenly, when I was standing and looking at this mountains, and it just I felt that somewhere Superman can come out, and not in the cartoon form, but I really expected Henry Cavill will fly from somewhere there. But anyway, but it was great. And this is like a that that for so many million years how things have changed, how the erosion has happened. And this entire thing was definitely like very very a special walk, because this was the first kind of thing we were pretty introduced to the rocky area of that site. And yeah, over there we did a lot of birding. We got to see this downy woodpecker. Few of us have seen a few snakes, and then a hummingbird. The snakes, I got the snake skin, like thankfully got to see it, but I missed the seeing the snake and the hummingbird, of course. And they were nuthatch, and this beautiful like aster flowers around. It was the even the habitat was pretty amazing. And yeah, once we were done with it, and this definitely before with all these activities, and we had a lot of classroom time where we have been discussing a lot of things, what happens during the trips, and we learned so much, exchanging the knowledge of different part of the world, that how things happens there and here. So all these things nurturing this whole thing, and we had a lot of like small catch up with the old new friends. And with that I met Rob as well, which was amazing, because we have been like coordinating in webinar for so many days and so many years. But seeing meeting everyone in person was definitely amazing. uh, so yeah. And the best part was uh, Ben. I must say, like I have listened to his all talks he has given, whether it's available in YouTube or in our NHA website, or sometimes we catch up in some meetings. So whenever he speaks, you don't feel like that. Oh my gosh! I mean, how this man can even like tell a story with such smoothness, and it gives you a different energy booster. Like after his talk you feel like, oh my god, I really want to do this. And the feeling is more like that. But seeing him and talking to us, like giving a talk in just sitting in right in front of him, I think that was really really amazing. I mean, the energy, um the thoughts, the view, the ideology he has. And I think that's the reason why we all are almost of the same kind. Like because the person who has those ideologies and the thoughts behind making natural habitat adventures, not like a tour company but a conservation tourism. I mean, you can completely understand that, and it was a privilege to meet him. And definitely it was a privilege to meet him, our other mentors, who have been like working with NAJ for so many years and getting amazing feedback, and very valuable feedback rather. So it was definitely, it's hard for me to come back. Like I felt like staying there and listening to them like a little few, I mean few more days. But yes, we have to say bye because our training and this meet was over, and then I had to jump on my own trip. So, and I got a travel partner who is also from India, Vineet, and he was there with me till Salt Lake City. So we did this Yellowstone Teton together, and we hired a car and we decided to drove because we know that there is a flight, like an easy trip from Denver to Bozeman, but we felt like we need to see the landscapes. I mean, we won't get many chances to know the the areas. So yeah, we decided and we started next day early morning, and after like long drive, of course, it's a pretty good miles, like almost seven, near about 700 miles. And from there, once we like crossed Colorado and entered the Wyoming, I was I was blown away. Like so many different landscapes, habitat. I mean, it looked like that you are in a time travel, the geological time travel. Um, the mosaic of different rock, the deserted landscape, too many huge ranches, because we don't have here those that kind of a huge ranches like what I saw in US, and those folded and erosional landscapes. So it gave me, and every 100 miles something or the other is changing, the color of those stones because of the mineral depositions and stuff. So yeah, absolutely, it was a very good choice, a decision to drive from Denver to Yellowstone. So we entered Yellowstone, and like from Mammoth, and we went to Mammoth Spring. So on that side, and so yeah, here is the landscape. And sometimes, I have to say, so just like the Superman, how I made it so dramatic here also, while all those vehicles were coming, and okay, I have to say, the kind of vehicles I have seen out there was absolutely crazy. Like I really wanted to see. Every vehicle was moving, and I was looking at. Oh wow, that's very very. I mean, it's different, of course. I'm seeing that, and all the trucks, the big trucks. And here when they were coming, because it's a landscape like that, it was warm, so a mirage was happening, and we could see the shadow, like the shimmering shadow of the vehicles, and that took me to the transformers. And suddenly I felt that maybe one truck, and the same, the steel and red, how the Optimus Prime, which I generally tell Rob that he has a voice like Optimus Prime. And I felt like that, okay, one of the truck will suddenly stand up, whether it's a Prime or Bumblebee or the Megatron. So yeah, I had a great time in that whole drive. So yeah, it was there. And then we reached the Yellowstone National Park, and of course, stepping there, looking at the sign, though we know that we have entered, but looking at the sign, the Yellowstone National Park gave goosebumps. Honestly, it gave me goosebumps, because when you are working in conservation and you learn about different conservation projects in different part of the world, especially with the species which are getting regionally extinct or are threatened, and I think Yellowstone is, and you are trying to make that forest or the patch of that protected area uh, in that conservation sector. So we have been hearing, or we have been listening to the Yellowstone conservation story, and sometimes when we write papers or when we give example, we have to talk about Yellowstone because of one of the oldest national park, and its success story of bringing back the wolves, and the change, the complete like drastical change it brought to Yellowstone, which was lost once the wolves were gone. So all these things, when you know, and then you are standing in that national park, you give example of, and I think that was the first like hit I got, that oh yes, I mean, I am here. So yeah, those that thing was there. But and then we once, because it was a long drive, and we stopped at in many places in Wyoming. Then we stopped in Cody and a lot of gas stations. Even I think I spoke to so many people who were at the gas station, like the grocery shops, about the places and stuff. So it was really fun meeting all of them out there. And so yeah, the time we reached at the Yellowstone lake, it was pretty dark, and but we were covering some amazing, beautiful landscape. And this lake, uh, of course, when you were learning about Yellowstone, or when you were talking about this lake, also make a very specific, you know. Like it has its facts, that, and because this huge lake lie on that Yellowstone caldera. And the most fascinating thing for me was knowing about the surrounding of the lake, that how it has formed especially. And it was so huge that we have covered so many loops, but still we could see the lake. And of course, and the especially which I was talking about was the formation of it through this combination of volcanic and glacier activity. We do have not by the volcanic, but the glacial activity was there. And I was kind of standing there, and I was thinking that the kind of volcanic eruption it has faced, yeah, I mean, in that the caldera has faced, like, and so many eruptions, not one, uh, like so many happened, and then the glacier cut down that area and the water filled in. I mean, this whole process was just lear- understanding about it itself is magnificent. I mean, that feeling was definitely great. And with that, that snow peak, the snow covered over the mountain, and a beautiful sunset around the lake. And because it was evening and dark, could not see much around all these hydrothermal activities, but then could smell the sulfur, and you know that where you are there. And but and I would say, I mean, generally, when I read about it, it says that the explorer called them the smell of hell, and that's true. I mean, our glasses, like windows were up, the glasses were up, but still you can feel it so strong. And it's amazing how they form, isn't it? I mean, imagine all the microorganism in that mud pots use this hydrogen sulfide like an energy source which we are unable to tolerate, and convert them into this sulfuric acid, which breaks down these rocks into wet clay, and which creates this rotten egg smell. Yeah, so it was definitely very fascinating. And then, while before we entered like the place where we were staying, which is close to Bozeman, and we stopped somewhere for to use the washroom. And then we stopped the car, and we got down, and there were nothing, like no lights were there, and that night sky, it was cold, it was difficult to stand outside for a long time, but I think it was spectacular, and so many shooting stars. And I was there out for almost 10-15 minutes, just looking at the sky, and tried uh, to click few pictures, which came really bad. But it was an amazing experience. I wish I could have a tent out there, and with a transparent, top part, and I could look into the stars and this Milky Way like throughout the night. Yeah. And from there, fortunate enough and luckily, Jake was there. I don't know you. Jake is our another expedition leader. So he leads a lot of trips in North America, and he's amazing tracker. And a big thank you to him, that for whom we have seen Yellowstone National Park in a very, very different way. Like exactly how we wanted to explore, not like a tourist, I mean not like a tourist, but an explorer kind. So yeah, a big thank you to him. So yeah, so we met him, and then he has his own plan that how we are going to do and what things we are going to do, so it's all on him. But and he did it amazingly. So the first animal we got to see there, we have come across actually pronghorn, but properly we could see this pronghorn on the first day of the morning. And and actually this is, we met the first the fastest animal of North America, and they are highly evolved runner, that's we know. But what we saw is mostly all the male are pretty engaged with the female, or this particular male was crazily following and nudging this female. And as usual, what we see, the deer or the antelopes, like here in India or in this areas, almost they have the same behavior thing, that the female is pretty annoying. She really doesn't care that he's following and he's trying to wooing her. With that, we saw, and then Jake said that okay, we will try for the grizzly. And I was thinking, is it, I mean, uh, okay, fine, we will try for the grizzly, I mean. And we went there, and he just stopped the vehicle, and I was looking around, I mean, I was looking around the grassland, there was a beautiful habitat landscape, and suddenly I saw there were two black things moving on the in around the grass, and I looked through my binocular and I said, oh gosh, that's a bear. Exactly, my expression was like this. And then the female, these are the two cubs which you see here, uh, these two here and this one. And then the female just stood up, and I saw the grizzly, and I was like, for a while I was speechless, like I was just looking at the bear, and I was like feeling, oh my god, is that easy. um, we had a deep conversation of the movement of the animals, and of course, because Jake, Corwin, they all stay there during the all the trips and stuff, so they kind of track the movement. So exactly what we do here for the tiger or for the rhinos, that particular, there are few like individuals who would move around in this area, so you try to be in that area at a particular time, so that you just higher the chances. But it's a different feeling, like when you do it, it's a kind of a thing that okay, this you are used to. But when things are happening with you for the very first time, it gives a different um like it's hard to, I'm sorry, it's hard to explain that how happy we were to see the grizzlies. And especially with the two cubs, that made it like a cherry on the cake. So yeah, once this grizzly was done and we were moving around, Vinith wanted to see a bald eagle nest. But we got to see it, but little. But we got to see this bald eagle cleaning its feather, and looking, like having a view on down on the grassland, um, to go for it, and it was more close to the water body, the river. So yeah, it gave us a good time to observe that exactly what their behavior is. So yeah, once we were there, and then we got to see a lot of elk, and exactly all the male were like over here. You can he if you see it, though the picture is not really good, but if you see it, it's actually the mouth is open. So it was bugling, and it was great to hear it, and it was funny. So we saw the whole that exactly how they behave if there is a young male, how they approach towards the female. But when the male, the big male with a big rack comes in, the stag comes in, and exactly he knows, the younger one knows where to move and how to move. So all this drama was happening in that field, and there were many, like hundreds of elks were there. So with that, my like, which I desperately wanted to see, as the mammoth spring, an outstanding formation, like in combination of this geothermal and geological process, which involve like this hot water, limestone, the volcanic activity. It formed the castle kind of a thing. It formed. I mean, I don't. I mean, when I think of it, just I sometimes I feel like I close my eyes and I stand in front of it, and I'm thinking that, okay, this, imagine the magma which came out like on the surface, or which is down at the surface actually, which is below the surface, and it's heating the water, creating this hot, like mineral rich water rise towards the surface and come out through these underground fractures, which is there. And then it's, the calcium carbonate precipitation, because it has a lot of minerals and all, a lot of things get evaporates, and this precipitation happens, and this formation of all these beautiful terrace, like the structures. Well, I'm sure you know that it's like travertine, it's called the structures, and it gives a distinctive look. And imagine, it is never ending, like it keeps on happening, and I mean the water is flowing continuously. So maybe right now I saw this, if I visit after 10 years or 15 years, I might see many more structures on it. So if you think that you have visited Yellowstone 20 years back, if you visit now, you might see this whole structure, this travertine structure has changed a lot. And of course, nature, it keeps on changing. And so yeah, Yellowstone was like a hit for me, and I can definitely spend like months just staying there, noticing each and every small detail that that Mammoth Spring has. And of course, this beautiful devilish eye it has from at the top where the water is coming out. It was definitely magnificent. I mean, they are beautiful, and especially I think all this, because of this thermophilic bacteria and algae, which gives all these beautiful colors that make that structure, that make that formation, becomes like world's one of the most like demanding thing to see, or expected thing to see. But yeah, with that we have came across few more animal with the mule deer. There were few female. It He was actually walking with his harem out there, um, grazing, and the female were looking, moving, and like looking at fawn. There was a small fawn, um, but yeah, it was beautiful, beautiful stag out there. And then, of course, when it's Yellowstone, we definitely cannot forget about the wolves. So that evening, we have been like looking for wolves. We hiked a bit, we went some places, sat there scanning, I think, each and every area we could. And Jake was like, okay, we have to go there, we have to see this, this is what is happening. And we were like crazy, like imagine three expedition leaders, like like their own expedition together. So we were actually some crazy bunch at that moment in search for the search of the wolves. But while happening this, what I have noticed is there are many people sitting with scope, like they have parked their vehicle, they have put their scope, have their tea, coffee, or something, and they have been like sitting there from morning till evening looking for wolf movement, because they update that to the state, to the authority, and they get a report that where the wolf movements are happening. And they are not related, that they are not from the department, like the national forest department. They are the local people. There are some retired people we met, that who have involved themselves for this whole thing, which made me feel so good. Because I don't know, there are very few people I see here who take this, like who are enthusiastic about, or who have this interest, who take up this and look for some specific species for such a long time, unless and until they are related with the conservation project. So that's a big thing which I loved it. I definitely, I mean, absolutely loved it. So yeah, with the wolf, but we couldn't see one, and all the people we met, they haven't seen one at that point of time. But there was a news that early in the morning they have seen. So anyway, that day went by, and we didn't see. And the next day we come, and and of course we saw, like as soon as we entered in Yellowstone, we saw too many bisons, and almost everywhere. But it's always, we say that, that's the best part about wildlife, is no matter how many times you see that particular species, every time you see a different part of it, a different behavior of it, of that same species. So it was very different. And of course this one was an old bull, kind of, but it didn't show us any grumpy attitude, but it was more curiosity, and whenever it didn't like, it just turned and looked, and we stopped. So we followed this bison, and it crossed the road, went to drink water, came back again, crossed the road, and went inside the forest, the bush. So yeah, it was nice. And Jake was telling us, just keep an eye on its tail, because you get to know a lot by the movements of his tail. So we learned that thing about this, but like about the bison. So the same thing happened with our gaur, though that's a Bovadian family. What do you see here in India? They are huge as well. So we kind of get to know by the tail, by how their nostrils are, getting smaller, enlarging, and yeah, all these things even we note. And so yeah, this is the things for the bison. And when we were crossing, and there was a huge herd which was crossing the road. I wish I could give the video over here, because we could hear only nothing we could hear. It's only the sound of the hooves, the tuck 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 tuck. It's all together. They were walking very calm, composed, no banging each other, no hurry. They were at their own pace. So it was definitely. And there was a line of vehicle, because they were crossing, so nobody could move. There was a line of vehicle on one side, and they were like walking on the other side. And so that day, oh, this is the evening part. And another day we woke up in the morning. Jake said we will hike in the very early morning to try for the wolf. And of course we are up for it. And almost 5 in the morning we were out, and we hiked at one place where there are some movements of the wolves. And of course on the way we found a lot of things, a lot of tracks and signs. We got the footprint of the wolf, but it was kind of a dry, so of course it's not a very fresh one. But we got a fresh black bear pug mark. and like footprint you can see. And then I found my imaginary turtle rock. I mean, somehow I felt this looks like the face of the turtle. This is the lower jaw, this is the upper jaw, this is the eye, and this is the mouth, and here it's me. So I had to take this. And while doing that, while we were walking and went to these beautiful places and stuff, and suddenly Jake said, "Oh wait, can you hear that?" And of course, I was completely soaking myself into these beautiful places, and and then we stopped and then heard it, and there was coyotes who were communicating. And then after a while, we heard the wolves howling. And you know what? We haven't seen a coyote or we haven't seen a wolf, but hearing them sometimes give give you that their presence, like more presence of the animal. And it was amazing because it was not only for one or two times, like several times we have heard that. So we know they are around, but somehow we couldn't like see it. So yeah, after coming back from there, we saw the mountain goat, and that reminded me of our ibex in the snow leopard habitat, exactly how they, like walk or move on the steep slopes of this mountain. So yeah, there are a lot of people who are watching them as well. So, and after one of the beautiful evening, like look at how many too many bisons are there at the Lamar Valley during the sunset. I think we spend almost half an hour just seeing at the sunset, and the bisons were moving, and the beautiful sky color. It was very very fascinating. And then while going back, we saw this moose, a young moose. You can see its shape and size. It's pretty small. And with that, we left Yellowstone next day morning. From Yellowstone, we were heading towards Teton, and of course, we got this continental divide. And yeah, again, another geological factor to it. And it was again, we have spent so much time out there understanding the whole thing, and just being there itself was it was great. With that, of course, we cannot escape this old faithful geyser. And fortunately, the time we were there, we could see twice. One was a small one, and the next one went really high. And there were too many people. Fewer from the state, fewer from outside, fewer visiting for the very first time, and we all are like standing in the line. Fortunately, I was ahead, so could take a very good pictures. And exactly how we get a sighting and make a noise, the video I took of it, and suddenly when it was like coming out slowly, and when it reached its height, everybody had a sound like wow. And imagine there are hundreds of people are doing the wow at the same time. I mean, it really made me feel happy that this is what we all do here whenever. So it doesn't matter which state, which country, um, wherever, I mean, who are the people are. I think our expression of joy, seeing something we are enthusiastic about, like brings out the same thing, like in a same way. So that was very lovely. I really loved it. And yeah, over there also we found a bison. See, over the water was coming out, and he was kind of he's another old guy. So he was standing out there, and then he sat there, and kind of it was enjoying maybe that geyser. So yeah, and with that, we entered Teton, and which so through this whole Yellowstone National Park, Colorado, in areas. I think I fell in. I'm not a I won't say I'm not a like tree or plants person. I love them, definitely I do, but I'm not so much knowledgeable, if I say it rightly, about plants and trees. But there are few plants and trees I like really feel deeply about it, and I think I fell in love with aspen. I mean, I fell in so much love that I came back and I almost painted 3 4 canvas about in different different landscape paintings where there are only aspens. So yeah, I really definitely fell in love with this tree, and imagine this whole. I mean, the fact that I got to know is. They're all like mostly the group of these aspens are the clones, like they are genetically identical and connected by a single extensive root system. I mean, which is absolutely amazing to think about. And I heard that this, I mean, and I read after I started to learn about aspen that the single root system that at least can be 80,000 years old, which is in Utah. So I wish I could next time when I come there, though I have been to Utah, but I couldn't stay there for long. But next time I'm definitely visiting this area where this 80,000 years old like tree, the clones are there, the aspen trees, and of course being like the bright fall colors, this beautiful white bark, and of course the source of food for many species makes it very unique. And also another uniqueness is the fire, that if there is a fire, they clone like the studs, the budding which comes out, they grow very rapidly. So even if one tree dies, there are a few more which are coming up. So there's a patch of forest which really covers with aspen. And yeah, and look at the colors, like they are stunning. And in Teton, we got to see few more bisons, and one especially took our attention, which was taking a mud bath. Just look at this fellow. Like, look at this. All the four legs are up in the air. It was standing up and suddenly then sitting and rolling itself on the mud. And then, because of this thick fur on its hump, it was shaking and all this cloud of dust were coming out. So it was like a big show. It was a good show, I would say. Like, you pay tickets to see this kind of things in a forest, and we were like watching, and people were watching just like that, and it was great. And of course, when we entered Teton, we have to talk about the youngest mountain. Of course, we do have Himalayas, but youngest mountain, and which is still growing. It's great to know, and great to know that it is just less than 10 million years old. 10 million, and it's still growing due to all this tectonic uh, movements, like tectonic plate movements. So yeah, and of course, Teton, we didn't come across many animals. The moose, elk, and there's the bisons. But Teton blown my mind because of its landscape. This steep, like slopes, this uplifting mountain, the peaks, and the roads, and you have the landscape beside it. I think it was definitely one of the best scenic area I have come across. Fortunately, we got a chance and stop over at this Teton Science School, thanks to Jake again. uh, so I wish I could like stay there and study and work in that area. Like, you wake up and you see this kind of beauty in front of you, would have been definitely amazing. And yeah, this is the elk I was talking about. We were moving at a small like road, and there were like a lot of pines were there, and this fellow was waiting somewhere. So we took the vehicle a little behind, and then after looking here and then, it started crossing the road. Oh wow, what a beauty! Like, very majestic. It exactly know that how handsome he is, and he was definitely flaunting its beauty or the handsomeness for sure. So yeah, it was an amazing sighting. And then from Teton, we headed towards the Salt Lake City. And again, we were thrashed and blasted by the colors we have come across, like the shades. Sorry for all the noise. Oops. Just hold on. Sorry for the noise. This is Diwali, the light festival in India. So everybody is bursting crackers. Um, I hope it stops soon. Oops. Thank God I live in the city, not around. Like the animals would have really had some problem because I am having. And after many years, I am spending this festival at home. So yeah, generally I don't get to hear all this. So yeah, we get amazing like colors, the cranes, the landscapes, and beautiful rock formations. And I took a flight from Salt Lake City to fly to Knoxville. And this is on the flight. There was a card, and I got this one. And I know that, okay, this is where I'm going. And that next destination, which is the Great Smoky Mountain National Park, where I was looking out for my salamanders. So I would say one thing, I had few friends out there. Stephen, who is the head of the reptile conservation in the Knoxville Zoo. So he came to pick me up, and we reached. I reached at my Airbnb at 7:30, and he said, "Are you willing to go out for harping now in 1 hour?" And I said yes. And we went out at 8:20 or 8:30, and we came back at 3:30 in the morning. So yeah, my next thing happened like that. And this was my first salamanders out there at the Knoxville or at this Smokies area. Look at this beautiful thing. And for the rest of the trip and some beautiful animal, I think from here my part of the journey has started, like the kind of reptiles or the amphibians and wildlife I wanted to see. um, a lot of huge turtles and tortoises, and some good wildlife. And yeah, so to be continued in part 2, when we will talk about the Great Smoky Mountains and its features, and I'll talk about few more of my friends there. Till now, I think I'm ready to take up any question if you have.
Okay, thank you so much, Arpita. Now, before we get into any questions, I would like to remind everyone that if you do have questions, feel free to submit them via the question field in your control panel. We don't have any real questions, but a lot of people are very excited to hear your perspective on our country and our wonderful national treasures that we have here. And it's really interesting to hear how you appreciated it and enjoyed it. And we are looking forward to part 2 of this presentation. So I'm going to throw it back to you, Arpita, for some closing comments.
Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for joining in. And because it's a light, like Diwali is a festival of lights, and the moral of it is to kill the devil in the dark and lit up everybody's life. And just invite the prosperity and happiness. So from here, from India, I wish all of you a very happy Diwali. May your life lit up as bright as possible. Take care. Have a great day. And thank you so much, Rob. You too have a great Diwali. Happy Diwali. And have a great day ahead.
And happy Diwali to you too, my friend. And thank you for taking the time to present for us today. And I'd also like to thank everyone who joined us today. So if you're interested in information on how you can travel the NatHab, please give us a call at the number on your screen, or you can send us an email at info@nathab.com. Our adventure specialists are happy to help you out. Join us tomorrow for our next Daily Dose of Nature. You can check out this week's lineup, including our registration links, on our website at nathab.com/webinars. We did record today's presentation, and we will have the replay available on our website soon. With that, I will conclude today's webinar. Goodbye, everybody. We'll see you next time.